to his belly while Paris read the letter aloud with renewed outrage. "Looking forward to finalizing all the details. Sincerely, blah, blah, blah," Paris finished. "See? They're trying to bribe me into going. And you know why I won't." Hobbit had heard all about why Paris had moved 3,000 miles from her last job. "Anita Topaz isn't going to this meeting. She's not going to do a TED Talk or whatever Reynard Media calls it for any—" She whirled to face the kitchen. "Foul word." She dashed across the living room toward the ominous you're-too-late scent of overcooked brownie. Her socks slipped on the linoleum, catapulting her through the kitchen door. She yanked the pan out of the oven, burning her wrist on the door. The pan slipped out of her grasp. She lunged to save it and whacked her head on the counter so hard that the world went dark for a moment. The dancing stars in her vision went away finally as she Jackie Chan rubbed the dent in her skull. At least it felt like a dent. Hobbit coiled into view from around the corner of the kitchen island. Tail kinked with annoyance that the clatter and cursing had disturbed his morning nap and petting. Rightly presuming that the fallen brownies were not anything he would want to eat, he pointedly began cleaning a paw. "I'm not leaking brain matter," she told the cat's back. "Thanks for asking." At least the brownies had landed face up. The edges were hard and tasted burnt, even for people who loved that part. Increasingly foul-tempered about the whole world, she set to using a melon baller to scoop out the still moist and edible interior. Chocolate, sugar, and butter in any form was edible, right? Brownie curls. Lisa might still be able to use them. Now that was an idea. Why wait until tomorrow? Getting out of the house would probably make her feel better. It had been 3-4 days. Her last brownie delivery to Mona Lisa's, as a matter of fact. Not for the first time, she was happy to have found a way not to eat her bouts of anxiety baking all by herself, and it even involved exercise. If Lisa didn't think anyone would buy the salvaged brownies, they could certainly eat a few themselves. It was that kind of day. 5 minutes' effort with little plastic bags and ribbons to tie them closed went without major mishaps. 2 dark, moist curls of brownie in each. Paris thought they looked appetizing, but Lisa would have to agree. She shoved the letter into her back pocket, thinking she'd ask Lisa's advice about it. Hobbit gave a discontented woof as she dumped him on the front porch. "Go find Elevenses, wherever it is you spend the rest of your time. I know it's early, but I'm getting some fresh air." Hobbit slithered under the hedge with a parting yowl. Yeah, I've been called worse." She pulled on her coat, grabbed up the basket with her wares, and let herself out into the blustery blue day. Lisa wasn't expecting Paris to show up with baked goodies until tomorrow. Still, as Lisa had said in the past, there really was no limit to how many brownies a bar full of sports fans could consume. Tipping her face to the sunshine, she zipped up her hoodie. The sharp wind off Massachusetts Bay shouted winter, but the sun was seductively whispering spring. San Francisco was never this extreme. She pushed away the pang of longing for guerrilla barbecue and the pale, sandy beach at Pacifica. She'd grown to like this town of Revere and nearby Boston, but in the nearly 5 years she'd lived here, it hadn't turned into home. It was hard to stay angry on such a glorious day. The blue sky refreshed her eyes, and the sun warmed the tip of her nose. It was as if the long, frozen, wet, dirty, slushy, slogging New England winter was over, but she knew that was a lie. As her landlords had warned her, March coaxed you out of your jacket, then dumped a foot of snow down your back, much like life itself. The only aspect about her apartment she didn't like was its position near the bottom of a hill even San Franciscans would call steep. It did mean that her landlords had a great view toward the harbor, and that Paris's rental space was light and airy, but the location was a challenge to someone without a car. She took a deep breath and set off up the hill with steady, long strides. Steep roads aside, renting the basement flat of the Lambeth/Richards house was still an ideal arrangement. The ladies had cash to help with their bills and repairs, and Paris had sunny windows, a solidly constructed kitchen that allowed her to bake off her anxieties, and an oversized bedroom with a big bay window where her desk was turned to face the flower and vegetable garden.